4 tactics to get publicity and customers, right? Tactic number 1, become a source for an article. So you can do this. We do this from our tool, but you can do this. You can sign up for these these newsletters, right? There's one called Haro, Help a Reporter Out. There's one called Source Bottle. There's one called ProfNet. There's also called Journal Requests. And I can keep naming them off and on and on and on and on and on. What we do is we take all of them, put them in one search. So you can take a topic, put it in, and you can see journalists who are looking for an expert to quote in their article right now. For the next couple days, our search shows you what it is that somebody is looking. So here's an example. Mary Simmons from Forbes is looking for top Instagram influencer automation bots currently in the market. And so she has a query out saying, listen, if you're an automation bot, I want to hear from you. Or, you know, top Instagram automation, here's the whole thing around like what she needs and what she wants. And so what you do is you read through this, you respond to this. You do this every day, and you're going to get press, guaranteed, because these people are looking to chat with somebody. So if you're 100% certain that you are a dead certain, like the best fit for this, just write your heart out in that response, and you're golden. You get the response. I have templates. We got 91% response rate with the template that our customers are using right now to respond to these requests. And, you know, a lot of them get published, right? If you guys want to check it out, this is, you might not see it very well, but you don't have to sign up or anything like that. You can just see some of these live right now. So if you go to JustReachOut, .ent, I'll put it in the chat. You can see the actual queries, and there's no sign up required. The actual results might look a little wonky in terms of design, but you will see them, and you'll see what it looks like, just so you can browse around. So I just put a link in the chat there, so you just see how it all looks. But these opportunities, you know, they're also for physical goods as well in here. We have all sorts of, so the beauty is that you put in a keyword, you can quickly see some of these results, right? And so it's useful to do this every day, because it's the lowest hanging fruit. Journalists are already putting out their feelers or inquiries. They're like, we need somebody who's an expert in X. And since, you know, hospitals, you know, anything you are an expert in, you be able to get some journalists to acquire about it. And this scans Twitter and all that stuff. But you don't have to use the tool. You don't have to use our tool. You can do this yourself, right? You can go on Twitter and search for hashtag journal requests, right? And the hashtag PR requests. You can go and subscribe to Help a Reporter Out. Help a Reporter Out. You know, and you can just infinite amount of these newsletters, but responding to press opportunities is hands down the simplest and easiest tactic that you can use right now to get press, to get some type of press before you even have a product. And I'm a huge advocate of getting press before you have a product. Go out there, respond to journalists, get something out there, right? Become a source for an article, check out this link, and mess around with it a little bit. Get a feel for it. You know, like I said, everybody who's on there now, Albert, Ashley, Leslie, everybody who's just chatting with me before, I want you to take one tactic, right? We got 4. This is the first one. I want one of these 4, and I want you guys to implement this today or Monday or Tuesday, and then email me on Tuesday and let me know how it went. Like, did it? Waiting for response. Do something like that, and I'll give you my email at the end. All right? Hopefully that's clear. Just give me a yes, Dmitry, in the chat. Whoever is sitting there, I know just a bunch of you just sitting there listening to this. Maybe you're distracted by something. Just give me a yes in the chat. So anybody who is on right now, yes, so just clear. Ashley, clear as a bell. Yes, 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 yes. All right, cool. All right, great. So, yeah, Albert says, but I can run search. Your video pops up. Yes. Okay. Well, no worries. Don't run the search. Just go and subscribe to Help Reporter Out or something like that. You don't have to use the tool. Cool. Number two, tactic number two, Quora or Reddit. Now, this is going to get a little tougher, right? The first one was kind of a giveaway. We got a lower hanging fruit. That was the lower hanging fruit. Quora or Reddit, you guys are going to do some work here on this one, right? So let's jump into this, right? Quora or Reddit. Rebecca Grant writes for VentureBeat. And me, Dmitry, wants Rebecca Grant to write an article about how great JustReachOut is for startups to do PR. Because Dmitry wants customers, and Dmitry thinks that if people are reading VentureBeat are very much targeted audience for me, right? So I research Rebecca, and I find that she has a blog. So I Google her name, I look at the things that she's putting out personally, and on her blog, she writes this article called Confessions of Ex-Tech Journalists. Now, this is pure gold for me, right? I'm like, oh, wow, like she's writing about how it felt being a journalist and how it was actually like a gazelle. Check that out, everybody. Like, look at it. I know how a gazelle feels. There you are, working hard out on savannah, and then bam, the predators descend, chasing you across the plains, licking their lips, watching your every move, ready to pounce at the first sign of vulnerability and squeeze every morsel they can out of you. So it's just like, it's speaking my language, right? I hate the fact that journalists are being, spammed like hell by everybody, right? That's why I build JustReachOut. Personalized conversation starters in there, helps you build relationships with journalists. So I read this article and I find something in common with this person, right? And this goes back to the Brad Meltzer thing, giving, not asking, right? I find something in common. The next thing I do is I take a quote from her article, quote from here, and I put it inside my personal blog. My personal blog, by the way, everybody, criminallyprolific.com, criminallyprolific.com. You can check it out later on, but anyway, so put that quote in, and you can see what I did there is I purposely put a bunch of random characters in there. Like, it didn't quite copy paste right, because I want to see if she actually reads it when I send it to her, right? So that's all I do. I mean, I have a blog post already about doing PR for startups, as you can see. I take a quote from her article that I find, and then I put it in there. I then go on Quora, and I look for questions around pitching press, pitching journalists. I find a relatively popular question on Quora, and then I link up my blog post with her quote in it. So essentially, like, I link the blog post, and then I quote her from VentureBeat. I say, Rebecca Grant, from former writer of VentureBeat, writes this. And the question is, what are some rookie mistakes a PR person can make? And I say, making your pitch all about you versus the journalist you're pitching to. I write about this here, and I link up my step-by-step guide to getting press for your startup. And then after that, I put in a quote from her. Now, if you guys are sitting there like, Dmitry, this is like a lot of work here. I got to like copy the thing from her article. I got to put that quote into my blog post. And I got to go and find the question on Quora. And then I promote my article. And I put her quote in there. You don't have to do that. You can just quote her directly here. Don't link up your blog post. If you're lazy, if you don't have time, don't worry about it. You got to show her some value right on this. I want to promote my blog post. I don't want to promote hers directly, right? Because who knows if this takes off, right? So I do this, and then I email her. And I say, Dmitry here, reached out. I barely used the site. We connected on a few things before via Twitter already. And what it is, like, listen, I just kind of promoted your article on Twitter and Quora. Check it out. So I basically tweeted this, right? And she comes back, you know, I barely use LinkedIn myself. I logged in to update. Anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed the Medium post. I actually left VB to do a startup of my own, which is very exciting. Now that's fine, because this is how a relationship happens. Remember that Daryl Harrington that wrote for TechCrunch? Remember how that relationship started over Hue light bulbs? Same thing here. This is how Rebecca and me connect, and she gets value up from me. I'm giving to her. I'm not asking, right? Later on, Rebecca's going to connect me to people at VentureBeat. Later on, not now. You can see that you can use this tactic to go back to that Netflix targeted approach to find Quora threads that are very popular and are pulling in your customers. So here's an example of employee retention. This is an HR analytics platform called Culture Amp, and Jason McPherson is the person who is answering this question. Now, there's 56 answers, and you can probably tell hundreds of thousands of you know, different types of people are checking this out, because this is actually ranking on Google for that term. There's a way to find if these Quora threads are ranking on Google for your key term. A lot of times they are, and so by answering and being the first answer on Quora, you can actually steal that traffic. Basically, if Jason here, when somebody Googles employee retention strategy, and if Quora comes up #1, Jason is just taking all that traffic because it says his name and his company right up above there. And so they can click on his name and they can say, who's this guy? I love this this answer. And they come over and they go check out his site. Now Jason didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to write an article of his own. He didn't have to promote anybody's article. He's straight up taking traffic from Quora that's ranking for it. If you want to check out this example, it's really good because it's a very long answer, and he actually beat out 56 answers and became #1. Look at that link up above. It's I'm going to type it in here. HTTP JustReachOut.link/RET. So there's sorry, it's .link. And not /link, but .link. So it's JustReachOut.link/RET. But type in HTTP before it. Sorry. But anyway, check that out, because it's a good way to find your customers, right? Second, as an added bonus with Quora, take a look at what's happening with these answers right here. See that, guys? You see, do you think University of Peoria? See how that answer was republished as an article? Now look at Eric Duffy here from PathGather. He answered a question, and that answer was featured as an actual article. Let's take a look at how that actually looks. Here it is. You can see on the right, this is a real article on Inc.com, which came from an answer on Quora. An answer on Quora can become an article. And there's a whole process how that happens. I'm not going to dive deep into this, but if you're interested, reach out. I'll give you all the details on how this works. It's a lot of details. But essentially, to sum up Quora, it's a great way to build relationships. You saw how we did that with Rebecca at VentureBeat. And it's a great way to promote somebody's work and start a conversation with them, right? Secondly, it's a great way to just steal some traffic. Find Quora threads that are very popular. They're getting a lot of answers and questions that maybe are ranking on Quora. You can use tools like Ahrefs. Again, if you want to know more, you can email me. I can give you information. And I write a lot for lots of publications around this stuff. I'll give you the info you need. But you can find Quora threads that are very popular, answer them, and get traffic, steal it. And then you can take your answers on Quora and build them into an actual article on Inc. and Forbes and so forth. So very popular. I would say experiment with this one. As you can see, #2 Quora is a little bit more involved, right? It's not as simple as the first one where you're just responding to journalist queries. But yeah, check out that link as an example. Number 3, provide data or insights. So how's everybody doing? Is this absolutely clear? I want to make sure there's no like lingering questions. So whoever's sitting on now, listening, how's everybody feeling overall too? You know, I know that people sometimes get tired of listening to one voice. You know, sometimes people are saying, all right, I've had enough. I can't take any more. Okay, cool. Roberto says, great. Okay, cool. Faster is fine. My digital magazine. Jason Turner is sharing his digital magazine. Awesome, Jason. I'd love more info, kind of like what it is, and you know, maybe Jason, you just email me later, you know, information about what you're working on and specific questions and stuff. Oh, cool. Yeah. Digital magazine looks awesome. Frank, Daniel, Ashley, just let me know if you have specific questions on this. So 2 more tactics, guys. Let's jump into it. Provide data or insights. So this is the email that I used for 2 years to build a company from 0 to 40 million page views and get acquired by Google. The company was Polar. It was a polling app. And what we're doing is we're creating polls on hot topics, hot news topics, and pitching the data that we receive from these polls to journalists. It's a great way to build relationships with journalists. It's a great way to produce content that journalists really care about, and it's a great way to get featured in press. Journalists, 90% of the time, don't really care about a new gadget. A lot of times, they're not that excited about it. What they care about is data, right? Data that they can use, and a lot of them don't have it. And it's very easy for you to create data and share it with them. There's a lot of tools out there that can allow you to just ask a question and just get a bunch of very targeted responses on that data. And there's a very decent chance there's actually a Planet Money podcast. If you guys listened to the last couple podcasting, it was recent, maybe last week, where they just did an experiment of a random crowd of people, and how a random crowd of people always determines the right answer for anything, down to like the 0.05% or something crazy, right? I think they did a weight of a cow, and the weight of a cow was like 1,300 pounds, and they randomly asked 17,000 people online, and people were all over the place. You know, somebody said 10 pounds, somebody said 5,000 pounds, but when you average everybody's answers out, it was exactly 1,300, and this works all the time. It's insane, right? It's math. It's pure math, but it's so illogical. But anyways, data like this, it's gold mine. It's a gold mine for journalists. So, you know, it turned into articles like this, right? With iOS 6 or iOS 7, right? This helped us get acquired by Google and grow. And there's a whole case study here. If you Google, you can check this out, how I helped a startup from 0 to 40 million page views and got acquired by Google. But pitches like these, where it's juicy data about radical bias in dating preferences, right? Or, you know, turn into articles like this, right? And so think about data. And this is, I'm not going to spend too much more time on data, but I think you guys get the point. It's like, in your area of expertise, what's the data that you can pitch? What questions can you ask that find surprising findings? And that's what you really need: unique, thought-provoking, surprising findings. The very last one might be, you know, not as hard, but these are very involved, right? So the fourth one, interview someone, right? So we had Quora thing, we had data, and now the last one is the interview. The interviews was the speaker series which I started. It's a great way to start a relationship and continue it. I've interviewed everybody from journalists to bloggers to founders to investors. You know, Paul Bruckheim, he created Gmail. Robert Scoble was a very big tech blogger, still is, you know, well known. So, I mean, I'd say look at, in your target market, who has clout, who has your customers, your audience, interview them. And then what happens is they promote the same interview, right? And then you start a relationship. And that's the beginning of a partnership. A lot of times, as you've seen in my space, I do PR that's very targeted to my customers. And this is a great way to start a conversation, interview that journalist, that blogger, and so forth. So here you are. These are 4 tactics. Again, remember, everybody who's sitting here, I want you guys to actually implement one of them. And I know you guys might, gravitate towards the first one because it's the easiest one. You got to respond to journalist queries. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier than trying to convince somebody to interview. But, just experiment with one. That's all I ask. We'll kind of go through quick review here. I want you guys to remember personalized conversation starter. I think everybody was clear on it. But I know that on Monday, you're not going to be thinking about it anymore because the weekend is just going to, there's a lot of things that are going to be coming at you. You're going to forget about it. So I want you, again, to remember personalized conversation starter and how you were giving and not asking. I want you to remember becoming a source for an article. That's the first one, the easiest one that we did. Then Quora, you saw how sneaky you can get to steal some traffic and get some people to respond to you. You can even publish them as an Inc. or Forbes article later on. Providing data and insights, how you can write quick polls and get published in publications and get publicity. And of course, interviewing somebody. So that's it. That's my email, Dmitry at JustReachOut.io.